I'm a pretty simple guy. I see a game about roller coasters and I think to myself, I wonder if I can build one that'll break the game. I haven't even built anything and the people are pouring out of the park. But there's the problem, it's just a big grass field. People don't want nature, they want a roller coaster. Well, it seems like we have a lot of space to work with, so I imagine we can get a pretty big one in here. So pulling a pre-built out at random is about this big. Obviously, we've got lots of space to work with, so we can fit a whole bunch of these in, or build our own. And we've got so many types of coaster to choose from. But I kinda like the sound of this one. It's got hydraulic launch and accelerates faster than a racing car thanks to a hydraulic launch system and my tinkering. So it's just a matter of choosing our start point. Well, I think right here should work. We're so high up that the game barely wants to build this. That's wonderfully terrifying. We can even see the park entrance in the background. Now, normally when you start a roller coaster up in the air, you immediately drop. That's not going to be the case for us because we have these hydraulic launch options. Target speed all the way up. Launch delay 0. Acceleration all the way up. I don't really know what track supports are, but that feels like the kind of safety feature we don't need here at this park. And I almost missed the catch car return speed. I don't know what that is, so we're going to put it at max. Now, we'll give it just a few lengths of that. That way we can understand what it actually does. Now, say we're going to jump on this ride, you'd be starting way up here in the sky and getting ready to launch before accelerating forward and diving off into nowhere. We are really high up because that thing still hasn't hit the ground. There it is. So we're off to a pretty good start. Now it's just a matter of trying to figure out how to utilize all this space and probably get people up here. But I'm pretty sure the more of these we have, the faster we're going to go, all the way up to 175 miles an hour, which is really fast. But we need to see if we can actually hit that speed before adding any more tracks. So it's going up and up and up. It hit 145 miles an hour, so we need more launch. Well, it turns out you can build this far before you find the edge of the park. So we're going to reel it back just a little bit and then we're going to have a gentle turn to one side and then we can go that way. Alright, so let's try and keep an eye on that speed and see how it handles this corner. So it's getting up there, it's at 175 miles an hour, it hit max speed. So it's going to take a gentle corner and then go that way. But I think immediately after the corner, we're free to go pretty much wherever we want, which is more or less going to be up. At least as much as we're allowed to conceivably go, which apparently is this far. But that's okay, because once we're going up there, we could probably just, head straight for the ground. And I do mean that in the most literal sense possible. All the way down. It's a mining game as well. We can go straight into the earth. We're going to have to test this thing again and again and again to see exactly what it's going to be like to go on. This part wouldn't be so bad because it's just a very fast acceleration. This part would be a little jarring and then we go up and we go way down for the biggest drop in human history. All the way to the core of the earth and then we crash into a wall and die. So this all feels pretty good so far. Now we need to figure out what to do after the drop into the doom. Turns out it's a little bit hard to work underground, so what we're going to do is try and bring the track straight up as fast as we can. There we go. So 45 degrees up. Whoopsie doopsie, we're already breaking something. Okay, straight back up. We got to see how high we can get this bad boy. I want such a vigorous G-force that people's spines pop out. Okay, perfect. We hit daylight again. Let's give this a test and see if it can make it this far. We'll go ahead and maybe calm this down a little bit just to give people an ounce of relief. So our goal right now is simple. Make it down the drop of doom, then back up the other side without losing my spine. Alright, straight down into the hole, and we're gonna have a pretty intense G out at the bottom, and right back up. Can we make it? That is really disorienting. Oh, we got some air time. That's got a lot of potential. Okay, the next test is auto launch, so we should be able to see it popping out any moment now. We'll try and get an idea of how high it goes. We do also have a cinematic camera. This is going to be fun. It's going to give us a much better view of what's going on. So down into the murder hole we go. I think we're on the way back up. Nope, that was that G out at the bottom. It's absolutely crushing people. And off into the moon. It actually falls right back down the track. Perfectly safe. People would absolutely survive. Great, since we still have a lot of momentum, we'll bring them up to about here before we start to even them out again. I would also like to point out we hit 270 miles an hour at the bottom of our drop, so that thing is fast. Even at the top, we're going 150 miles an hour. And you see, that's actually a problem because it's slower than our launcher will make us go. So these launchers are going to catch these idiots again and put them back up to speed. And we got some pre-made spirals or something. We might as well take advantage of a few of these. We'll give them just a few swirls to disorient them before dropping them straight back down into the core of the earth. And I don't know who's responsible for building this thing, but they're going to charge a lot of money. So there's another massive geo where they're going to be doing about 300 miles an hour. But now I'm curious if I can thread the needle and get them back to go through the circles. I might actually be able to get away with this. This is a horrible design. Pretty sure we might have a conflict of roller coasters there. But in the meantime, since we're on a good trajectory, we'll just let it go down like this for a little ways. Yeah, it's all mostly just a problem for the engineers. Straight to the bottom. The game is not loving what I've done. I'm not really sure how to proceed from here because I cannot at all see. Yep, this is a good sign. I've built 1% of my roller coaster and I already hit a roadblock. I'm not sure I managed to add a spiral to it, but on the way back up, they're going to get dizzy. So far, it doesn't actually look that bad, but we've got a new part of the track to test. So now we come to the top of the hill, come to a very abrupt stop. That's got to be good for the whiplash, where we launch ourselves this way at very high speed. By this point, you're probably passed out, so it doesn't really matter. But then you dive straight back into the earth, at which point you go straight back up, once again removing your spine from your body. And it actually still made it to the top of that. And then we go here and we loop back through our thing one more time just to really discombobulate people while spinning at very high speeds. And then I think we corkscrew the other way, so that should undo people's dizziness as they climb back to the top and enjoy a moment of relief before hurling to their death. So at the start of this small drop that goes all the way down there, they're going to pick up quite a bit of speed. They hit just about 250 miles an hour, which is obviously pretty quick, but I'm curious to see about the speed on the next drop. So if I'm reading that correctly, it only hit 230 miles an hour, but there wasn't a launcher before it. So I think that spiraling drop is probably the way to make it go fastest. I've also discovered a way to make really tight corkscrews on the way down. So there's a giant accelerator here, and then they're going to accelerate into these swirls that go down and down and down and down and down. By the bottom of that, I'm hoping we exceed well over 300 miles an hour. This thing's getting long. Even at ×5 speed, it takes forever to get to its current spot. I couldn't find it for a minute, and I realized it doesn't have the speed to make it up this twisty spot, so it just goes up and down in an endless loop of torment. I finally smoothed over the spot so now the coaster can actually make it to its launch again, at which point it's going to go down the spiral. So it's going into this at only 129 miles an hour. We will boost it up to 175, but I am curious to see how fast it goes by the time it hits the bottom of that, and that's swirling fast. That still managed to hit 250 miles an hour, which is really impressive. And I do like how the fear is basically buried the whole way long. I've been experimenting with a few things, and the fastest I've been able to make this roller coaster go has been about 270 miles an hour, which is pretty impressive. I'm going to try a few different things. 274 miles an hour so far is the best. So if you're curious as to what that looks like for the people on board, here it is, not sped up at all. We start going down and they're going to get dizzy. If they're not dead on this drop, they're going to wish they were dead by the time they're done. But now that we have a nice high-speed section done, it's time to actually bring the people to their roller coaster. And I'm not going to lie to you, I don't really know how to get people up here, so we'll figure it out. Well, this seems easy enough. We just got to elongate the shaft. And it actually looks like our aim is pretty good, so we just got to go that way. I've discovered the secret of staircases as well, so by the time we get there, we should be close. Well, I'm not wrong, we were pretty close. We are also on the wrong side though. And you see, the thing is, by the time the people walk up 4,000 stairs, they're going to think, I'm just going to ride this no matter what it is. I don't even care. It's not the prettiest job, and you don't want to follow that staircase, but we made it all connected, so now people can more or less get here. Not entirely sure what happened there. Honestly, the path to the roller coaster might be scarier than the roller coaster itself. I finally added the entrance and the exit to the roller coaster, so people are starting to move into the park. My first victims. It tells me the coaster is untested, but I've got my test subjects about to jump on. There's no sense in me riding it, I'm not going to be the one enjoying it. We also need to try a little physics experiment, so for now I've routed the coaster in that direction, so now it will go down the hill at alarmingly high speed. And unfortunately in this instance, the people have walked past the entrance, but once they're back on there, it will go down and we'll get to find out what happens if the coaster goes beyond the end of the track into the people. And look at this enthusiastic individual, she's way ahead of the rest of them, she's pretty much running up there. My path seems to be working as well, so that makes me feel happy. She got all the way up here and turned around and said, you know what? No, I'm good. The same way most people are probably going to. Probably because the roller coaster isn't complete. I just gave my roller coaster the first test and it says this coaster is too extreme. And I couldn't agree more, and I'm very happy with that result. We've done something right so far. Maybe it's the name. Launched Hydraulic 1 sounds a little too scary. The jiggler sounds a little more childish and playful, that way it tricks people into getting on there, and then it jiggles their organs right out of their bodies. I've also found in the settings, tracked rides, friction controls. That was set to about 110 to start, we're going to turn that down to 0.3, that should increase our speed. I should have gone into these option menus sooner, extended track limits, on. So now that we've taken the speed limits down a little bit, we can see how fast this thing can actually get going on its quickest spot. We did make it go faster, 281 miles an hour. Now that we've figured out our scientific methods for a roller coaster, it's time to work on something even safer. We can build our very own unguarded water slides. The ironically named body flume has a max drop angle of 70 degrees, which is as steep as I could find, which is what we're going to build. And since these run entirely on gravity, we're obviously going to have to start it very high up in the sky. So this is where it's going to start, and this is where it's going to start to drop. In case you're wondering what a 70-degree drop looks like, it's this. They are going to go rocketing down there in light speed, but at least they have some soft trees to land in. This one's actually super easy to build. We just build a big straight line and let them go. Then we got to do a good hard turn at the bottom just to make sure they get maximum airtime on their way back up. I just hope they like it. We're going to have to give this one a fitting name as well. I really honestly couldn't think of a better name than that. It's going to be fun to test it out. Okay, this is great. We get to test this thing at night, but watch what happens. They jump onto the slide, they start going down, they quickly accelerate up to light speed, and then they get launched into the moon. Now it's obviously going to take a minute for me to find out where to put the pool for them to land in, but it's generally in that direction. Looks like they're hitting about max speed too. They're actually going 140 miles an hour as a person going down a water slide. If we're hot in pursuit of a body, we need to know where they land. I think this is just a test dummy, but as soon as we see where it lands, we know where to put a pool. Got it. I'm thinking a flume pool is what they're technically supposed to land in. Okay, well this one technically is connected to another flume, but I think people should hit that one. I see the shadow of someone coming in now. Okay, we just gotta wait patiently. They'll land any moment now. And we missed. Okay, I've got a good feeling about this one. Do you see him? It's pretty high up there, so it gets pretty small. Okay, he's coming down, coming down. Come on, hit the pool. And got him. Imagine being one of these people walking up to the top, just knowing what awaits you. I'd still argue you're better off to go on one of these rides and walk all the way back down. So it looks like people are once again noping out of my ride. It's probably a little bit too extreme for them. Your ride is too scary. Your ride exceeds G-force limits. I've been told the limits are really just all in your mind, so I don't know what these people are complaining about. Because somehow this ride isn't that scary compared to the others. The people swirl around the loop, drop out, and fall all the way down into the pool. I think it's finally happening. People are finally using one of my rides. Oh, this gives me such a good idea. Let's watch them go. They're going to swirl and swirl and swirl. Out they go, and then they're going to drop right on through the murder hole, and then they're going to fall a long ways down. They're going to fall, and they're going to fall, and they're going to fall until they hit the pool, at which point they're actually perfectly fine. I don't know how this ride is safe or legal or not horrifying. Well, you know what we have to do now, don't you? We are going to make it rain people over our park. I just need like 1,000 of these and 1,000 of those and a whole bunch of these people. The changing rooms are really popular though, because the only ride here that people actually ride is a pool ride. So first things first, let's give the people lots of changing rooms. That way they can just show up, get changed, walk up the stairs, and then fall down the hole. Because this just looks like so much fun. They just get launched out of the hole and fall to their death. So I think the first thing I need to do is create my own custom flume that's kind of small and compact. That way we can fit a lot in a small area. So honestly, just like that, they'll get on right here, they'll go down a gentle slope, very slowly circling the drain, and then down they go, except up there. We'll call it the hole. It's simply described as a hole. Whatever we're doing it right, because people are loving this place. I've also discovered there's an easier way to build one of these. I don't have to build it one by one in the sky, I can just build a super flume here on the ground. So basically I just need to take this and scale it way up. Then we just build a few sections in a row. I don't want a few people falling from the sky, I want the sky to be made out of falling people. It's only now that I'm realizing just how long this is going to take to finish. I've been clicking this for a minute and we're just going past my existing attractions now. But yeah, that seems about big enough. We just need to put this up into the sky 1,000 meters. I might have actually built it too big because now the game won't actually let me build it. So I might just have to give up and build it the hard way in the sky manually. I finally managed to get it to play ball, so now we just gotta build this way for a while. Now we have our platform in the sky, with which we can connect 10,000 flumes. The game is getting so broken trying to build this. I'm just trying to place the entrance and I've got to like re-coordinate with it because it doesn't know where to put this thing. So I may need to put this one further out if we're going to surround it with more like-minded swirly pools, but we have a lot of real estate to work with, so we're just going to have to feel this out. And we got to test these as we go to make sure that people are actually going to make it to the end. He just about runs out of speed before hitting another little speed boost, and we'll finish the end in a minute. I like how I'm also allowed to test this flume already, like it just goes off the edge. But to start, we can just make side-by-side swirlers. That puts two nice and close together. Look how slowly they go here. Oh, we might need more speed. I've made the necessary changes to actually get the people down the swirly holes, and we've also created quite a shape while doing it. So the ride goes like this. We simply cruise along nice and slowly, letting things lull you into a false sense of security. Why did this one stop? They're literally the same, yet one side is stopping. Luckily, I can just take this slider and turn it down a little. So let's try that again, this time with much less friction. We are going way faster up to this point. This is good. Oh, these people are going to get going quick. Then we're going to go down here, around the circle, into the hole. Then we're going to drop a long ways down. So we just need 10,000 more of that. I wanted to see what happens on our old slide, the launcher. Now that we turned friction down, we go up to like 160 miles an hour, and then they get super launched. But now I can't help myself, and we're going to go on just a little side quest to see if we can break the speed record. I think we're just about to break back out to the surface on this one, because I want to launch people. You'd never suspect there was something so dangerous down below. But we now have one very swirly, high-speed water slide. So to begin, let's just give it a test, and keep in mind this is at only 1x speed. This is not sped up at all. So I'd imagine this is going to break a new speed record, because that's going to give me a seizure. We're still picking up speed underground. Eventually we'll flatten out and then we'll get launched into the sky. This is all uphill in this section, so he's going to keep getting launched. We can see their speed. It is picking up and up and up. He's currently at 120 miles an hour. There's 150 miles an hour. He's launched out into the sky. He is up to 210 miles an hour on a water slide. So if nothing else, we have accomplished a 210 mile per hour water slide so far. But back to our mega project. We need more holes. For now, we're going to use a lot of symmetry to make this work. Eventually, we'll just fill in whatever gaps we have with whatever we can. We have a lot of space to work with, so we're going to have to get creative. And you could definitely overlap these things quite a bit. The people might get interfered with, but that's sort of the least of people's problems, really. I've turned on testing for all the current tubes just so we can see where the bodies fall. So we have a better idea of where to put a pool, just so we're allowed to legally open this thing. It turns out I'm allowed to make a pool really as big as I want, so that's going to make it easy. We can just make an enormous pool, no problem. So I don't really feel like building a path all the way to the pond either, so we're going to bring the pond to the path. There we go, the people are loving it already. They're jumping right in there. So it turns out we can just kind of turn off a lot of the laws of physics. So these can all intersect and basically land more or less in the same spot, because we can just force people to go through everything. It gets very confusing, but it works. So that made things a lot easier for me. Well, the game is starting to get pretty laggy, in particular around this area. But I did funnel over 200 individual water slides right into this pocket, so it's really going to be raining people as soon as we actually open this thing. Now, a lot of these are yet untested, so we're going to have to start testing them as well. That will make them safe for opening. I obviously couldn't test them on the go because, as you can see, the game gets very laggy very quickly. Even just manually clicking on 200 of these is a really tedious and annoying task. I know these are only crash test dummies so far, but I am very happy with the result of the people rain we've made so far. Kind of a shame we couldn't get rid of those pillars. It's wonderful. If you stick out your tongue, you can catch them as they fall. So let's see if these are safe enough to put real people on and let them drop. Okay, so it turns out a lot of these are safe enough. We've just got to manually click 200 times into green now. A few of these are deemed unsafe to open. I assume that's because some idiot took a bad bounce on the way down and probably didn't hit the pool. Okay, people have finally made it onto the platform. They're gonna do it. They've got a long ways to go before they actually get to their slide, but they're on their way, so it does work. Alright, the numbers are going up, and with all these fun rides here, we should attract even more guests to the park. There's not a lot of people making their way all the way to the top yet, probably because it's a long climb, but you still see lots of them falling like ants. It's very satisfying to watch. I'm just really happy the game let me do all this. And while there's not yet a ton of guests riding my water slides, at least we were able to create a water park that absolutely shouldn't exist.